Danny! 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 I'm coming down!
The Shining is a unique experience. There's nothing outright scary about it, and yet something about it lingered in my mind after the credits rolled. Something so unhinged and so unnerving that it left me feeling wary of my own shadow. Something about its atmosphere, its tone, and its ambiguity stuck with me. A detail so small that I can't quite put my finger on what exactly it is. And I think that's what, for me, makes this film so great. It's the little details that feed into the big picture that make it a masterpiece. And today, I want to talk about those subtle details and why they make The Shining so terrifying. And yes, spoilers ahead, as well as a content warning for disturbing imagery. For those who may not be familiar, The Shining is a 1980 horror movie directed by Stanley Kubrick, based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. It follows Jack Torrance, a writer and recovering alcoholic taking a position as a caretaker for the Overlook Hotel in its winter months. The film tracks his and his family's experience with the hotel's seemingly supernatural phenomenon, and from the start, the film tells us that something is not as it seems through its sound design. From the haunting, almost ethereal nature of its soundtrack to its many stings and musical cues, the film uses sound to create an air of tension and unpredictability. The opening scene plays a deep, bassy song that can only be described as ominous, and quickly introduces short, sharp strings that feel unnatural, that just don't belong. But they don't leave. Instead, they are joined by a ghostly chorus of wailing that continues through the opening credits, before letting the film continue. This creepy opening quickly tells us that something is off. The music's eerie quality only grows from here on in, and is amplified by the Foley sounds within the film, which serve to shock and even confuse the viewer. Danny's tricycle sounds like a synth piece preparing you for a jump scare. The sound of Jack throwing a ball against the wall in this early scene initially sounds like a drum beat. It even fiddles with the timing of some jump scares to toy with your expectations. By keeping you guessing what each sound and sting is foreshadowing, it keeps you on edge and brings you into its world, which is helped along by the film's lighting. Much of the film's early scenes are lit with soft, natural lights. It gives it a feeling of normality, as if it could be us in the Torrance's position. But a month after entering the Overlook Hotel, the lighting seems different. The shadows look darker and the lights shine brighter, and while this change serves to help make the film look better by giving it a stronger contrast, it also makes it seem less real. This isn't the normal world. This isn't our world. This is emphasized by Wendy's phone call to the ranger station. In this scene, Wendy is nearly silhouetted by the light, but the ranger station is simply lit. There's no particularly harsh shadows or strong lights in their office. Compared to the way Wendy is shot, it looks flat. It tells us that there are two worlds in this film. The normal world and the Overlook. A world where terrible things happen. An unpredictable world controlled by forces beyond our comprehension.
Great party, isn't it?
The film brings us into this world by starting off in a familiar setting and terrifies us with the idea that this could happen to anyone. But for as clever as its use of light is, what I find to be more interesting is its use of darkness to reflect Jack Torrance's descent into madness. Jack is always cast in darkness in some way, shape, or form throughout the film, whether it be him actually standing in the dark or simply wearing darker clothes than everyone else. It hints that there's something twisted, almost evil about Jack, or that something twisted is trying to take control of him. As the film goes on, this connection becomes more apparent as he slowly succumbs to the Overlook's influence. He's framed in darker and darker locations, transitioning from the dimly lit writing room to the near pitch blackness of night, where he appears as nothing more than a silhouette. This builds to a head when Jack hunts Danny down through the hedge maze. The scene is dark, lit up only by a series of lights within the maze. When on Danny, the camera is low and it follows him from a distance, making him look small and the scene look darker, as if it's the darkness itself that Danny is trying to escape from. When on Jack, however, the camera is set high, where the white snow covering the hedges makes the background look brighter, which, comparatively, makes Jack appear to be the darkest thing in frame. He is the darkness. Eventually, after Dang manages to outsmart him, he gets lost, and unable to escape the all-consuming shadows, he simply freezes to death. His growing connection to darkness represents how his mental state deteriorates over the course of the film, and acts as a visual indicator of his insanity. And it even uses this connection to great effect in Dick Halloran's death. As Halloran wanders through the dark corridors of the hotel, we fear for his life, afraid that Jack will jump out of nowhere to end him. But the scene goes on. Halloran gets closer to the light, and we think for a second that he might just be fine. Until... This scene, just like the sound design, toys with our expectations. We have come to associate the dark with evil and death, and yet here we are, seeing someone entering the light and being brutally murdered. We're left unsure what to think or what to expect next. And that, in my opinion, is the best part of The Shining. The uncertainty, the ambiguity, the unknown. From the sporadic and shocking sound design to the way the film manipulates light and darkness, the entire movie is built to make you unsure as to what exactly happened. Is the hotel haunted, or is this and all the other murders that have taken place in the Overlook simple cases of cabin fever? Is the film about abuse, or is it a metaphor for colonialism and manifest destiny? You're left at a loss as to what it all means. You're left to investigate every little detail of the film to find an answer. It fills you with a desperate obsession to make the unknown known. And even when you think you've found it, another detail pops up that makes you question everything all over again. There is no answer to this film's mystery, and that is the little thing that makes The Shining truly scary.
How do you like it?
And yeah, those are my thoughts. I will admit this was quite a last minute decision for a video, but I'm glad I picked it. Gave me an excuse to watch The Shining a bunch. It is just such a well crafted and unique experience, I love it. Anyway, tell me what you think. If you agree, disagree, why your favorite part of Shining is, why you think the blood elevator is supposed to mean, etc. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, check out my last video where I talk about why Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is so fun to watch. Or if you want something a little more dramatic, check out my new Diamond Society episode over on Traven Streams, where after getting lost searching for mob heads, I get stuck in a village terrorized by a power-hungry cowboy. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to come fly with me. And hopefully, I'll see you later.